Hi everyone. Today, let's talk about the verb to have in French. Avoir. I'd like to show you that you can manage avoir very easily, just with some tips and patterns. And then we'll get an insights of all the French expressions that you can have with to have. So let's see that together. To have, avoir, in French is based on the sound a. Elle a, il a, on a. So you pronounce the end of on when the following word starts with a vowel. On a. And we also have tu as. So with tu, you always add a silent S. Always. So you see, all what you've seen sounds a. Now there's something special with that a. In French, there are two basic common patterns with that sound a. So first pattern, that a for I have turns into et, j'ai. So et I sounds et, j'ai. And I is j plus apostrophe when the following word starts with a vowel. J'ai. So that was the first pattern. Now the second pattern. For they have. That same a turns into on. Ils ont. Elles ont. On. O-N-T. And the T is silent. And you hear that we pronounce the S of il and elle when the following word starts with a vowel. And you hear that this S sounds like a Z. Ils ont. Elles ont. But now, what about the plural you? Well, the plural you is usually automatic in French. With the plural you, in most cases, you just take the verb, the to form, and you replace the ending here, war, by et, iz. Vous avez. So that pattern with the plural you is so common in French that it works even with most irregular verbs. But now let's talk about the last pronoun, the very formal French oui. So the formal oui is also automatic in French. You also take the to form of the verb and you replace the ending, this time by on. O-N-S, and the S is silent. Nous avons. So you see, to have is supposed to be irregular, and it is irregular. But the patterns that we've seen are actually very common in French. Even the sounds a, et, on, which make a kind of a triangle that you can use with other verbs like to go, or with other tenses like the future tense. That's already the next step, but that gives a taste of French, so that's still good to know. Now, here are some examples of the most common and idiomatic French expressions with to have. Avoir, besoin de. Un besoin is a need. So in French, to need is to have the need of. Avoir besoin de. J'ai besoin de toi. Tu as besoin de vacances. Avoir l'air. Just like to have the air, but that truly means to seem or to look. Elle a l'air tente. Vous avez l'air en forme. Avoir envie de. So to feel like doing something. But avoir envie de is really a French idiomatic expression often used for to want. But that lightens the idea of wanting. Avoir envie de is more friendly than to want to. You're not like giving an order with avoir envie de. Ils ont envie de commencer maintenant. Elles ont envie de rire. J'ai pas envie. Je n'ai pas envie. So in French, you don't often say to want directly. There are some ways to say to want without saying to want, and avoir envie de is one of these ways. But now be careful. There are many expressions with to have in French that are built with to be in English. So I show you now these most common expressions. Avoir raison. Vous avez raison. Avoir tort. Vous avez tort. Avoir de la chance. Tu as de la chance. Avoir faim. On a faim. Avoir soif. Vous avez soif. Avoir peur. J'ai peur en avion. Ils ont peur des araignées. So you see, to have is very useful because you'll find it in very common French expressions. And if you'd like to master French verbs and expressions, this episode is actually a part of a whole free masterclass that helps you to print the French verbs in your memory. The link for the masterclass is in description. So if you're looking for a good way to have the French verbs ready in your mind, ready to use, the masterclass covers most French verbs the same way we just did, with many examples of typical French expressions and tips and hacks to remember all the French rules. It's free, the link is in description, so help yourself. And don't forget to subscribe and see you for the next lesson.